Okay, hang on, I got the keynote going. All right, can you hear me okay? All right, I think we're live. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Hey guys, Joel here from RevThink. Good to be with you today. Happy New Year. I'm pumped to be entering into a new year, and I'm excited you're here to join me and the team from RevThink, wherever you are in the world. This presentation is called Why Up and Coming Studios Get Stuck and How to Make the Leap to the Next Level. All right, as I said, I'm Joel at RevThink. I'm a consultant and partner at RevThink. RevThink is the consultancy for next generation creative entrepreneurs. Now, what does that mean? That means we work with studios, we work with creative agencies, we work with production companies, mostly in the US, but also around the world. We'll get to more of that later. And before we dive into this whole session today, I first want to tell you a really quick story about me. And that is, although we work with business owners at RevThink, my story is that I used to be a business owner. I actually ran my own studio for 20 years. And I'll tell you that story later. But one moment in my story that I want to explain to you is that I was stuck for my first 6 or 7 years. And I look back on this season of my career and my business, and it's something I don't like to remember. I don't like to even really share it because it's sort of embarrassing. And that is, my business was in a place where we had maybe 1, 2 employees, and we generated $200,000, maybe $250,000 a year. And this went on for 6 or 7 years. And I realize now, looking back, that I was stuck in what's called the painful season. But then I made a series of shifts, changes, that really made a big impact on my business, and moved it to Denver, started to build a client base, started to travel. And over the next 5 to 10 years, my business grew ultimately to about a team size of 25 employees, a couple hundred freelancers, but we were doing about $5 million a year in annual revenue. That's the exciting part of the story. But I tell you that story about me being stuck just from the very start. I want you to understand that I've been there. And hopefully I can just get your attention and help you realize that maybe you're not all that dissimilar from me and my story. Okay. Let's get into this session. First of all, let's just kind of warm you up to what we're going to cover in this session, what it's about. First off, who is this session for? This session is for motion design studios. It's for animation companies, for production companies. Maybe you're a music or sound design company. In short, if you're any type of a creative company that provides services for clients on a project-by-project basis, probably on a work-for-hire basis, then this session is for you. By the way, as we go along here, I'm going to be referring to my keynote here right in front of me. So if you see me looking down, that's just me looking at the keynote that you're seeing during this presentation. All right, the agenda. In the next 30 or so minutes, here's what I want to cover. 2 things. One, I want to expose the common myths that cause up-and-coming studios to get stuck. And then next, I want to reveal the revolutionary strategies that empower them to reach the next level. And I know that word revolutionary is big. That's a big word, so I hope to really live up to this promise. Now, take a look at this little diagram here. Now, this is called Seasons of the Creative Firm. And what you'll see in this diagram is seasons at the top. The painful season, the push season, the punch season, and so forth. These are the seasons that creative businesses move through as they grow and evolve through the years. And what I want you to notice is at the bottom, you'll see the revenue and the team size. Okay, see that annual revenue and team size at the bottom. And if you are a young or maybe an up-and-coming creative firm, most likely you're in this painful season where you're less than $1 million, you're maybe a team size, permanent team size of 1 to 4 people. And the thing to see here is there's this huge gap between breaking out of the painful season and making your way into the push season. In this presentation, I'm going to help you see that perhaps you're stuck in this gap and how to break through the gap and make your way into the push season. All right, my goal in this session is this, that if you have always sensed that your up-and-coming creative firm is capable of performing at a much higher level, I will show you how to reach it. I want to show you how to get there. That's my goal. Now, some ground rules about you and this talk. First of all, this isn't a magic formula. I'm not a snake oil salesman trying to pitch you on anything. First off, your firm must be capable of producing great creative work. So if that doesn't describe you, then go no further. Next, this session isn't for freelancers or solopreneurs, okay? So if you're a one-person company, this is not for you, okay? You must be building a team. And then third, it's not for startups even. So you must be running an established firm, all right? So if you've just started your company, you're not going to find this presentation very valuable. Also, I just want to add this, that the results of my clients, okay, the people that I'm going to be talking about in this presentation, they're not common, okay? They're not typical. That all these examples that I share represent extraordinary creative entrepreneurs, okay? These are some of the awesome people that I get to work with. As always, your success, okay, is up to you. You already know this. All right, let's begin. Let's first ask a question. Does this describe you? I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And the first one is, why aren't you focused on doing the work that you love most? And perhaps your answer is, well, I have a business to run. I would love to do that, but I have a business to run. My next question is, why doesn't your firm stand out and get noticed? And I'm guessing you're saying something like, well, gosh, you know, Joel, there's so much competition out there. All right, why do your clients treat you as a vendor? Why do your clients treat you as a vendor? And I'm betting you're saying something like, yeah, because we deserve to be treated like experts. My other question for you is, why do you settle for producing merely good work? And I know this is a hard question, but why do you settle with producing merely good work? And you would probably answer me, you're right, because we're capable of producing great work. If someone would just give us the shot, someone would just give us a chance. All right, I have a client that I worked with a while ago, Jared at Deep Sky, and he said something one day to me that I thought was really profound about this journey that we as creatives are on when we start a business and then we start to grow and evolve and we experience challenges. And it goes like this. He said, you know, Joel, I always dreamed of running my own creative studio. But then one day I woke up and realized I was running a business. Exactly. And running a business is actually a lot more complicated than just being a creative and doing the work. Now, I'll even say this. There's a quote. You're not going to like this quote. This quote is going to make you cry. It's going to make you say, no, Joel, it's not true. This is from David C. Baker, a friend of mine who is an expert, also a consultant in the marketing and advertising space. And he said this, you know, Joel, there is so little connection between how creative a firm is and how successful they are as a business. If anything, there might be an inverse relationship. Now that should make you mad. I know it makes me mad, but this is the reality that we're all living with. So let's move on. What is really going on here? Okay, what is it that makes it so difficult about running a small or a young or an up-and-coming creative firm to break out of that painful season and reach that push season and beyond, where you're generating $1 to $2 or more million a year? Well, I believe there are 4 myths that most every owner gets caught up in. Okay, you accept these myths as true and they prevent you from moving forward. And this is why up-and-coming studios get stuck. And I know this because I lived this myself. I absolutely experienced this journey myself, so I'm not just speaking from a hypothetical point of view. And I want to walk you through each of these 4 myths. This is going to be the meat of what we cover in this webinar. Now, here's the good news. I want to skip ahead and give you a sense of once you shatter the 4 myths, what's possible. 1, you're going to stand out from the competition. Absolutely essential. Next, you're going to be recognized as an expert, not a vendor, as an expert. Then I want you to connect with better clients. And I want you to notice that word, better clients. Better. We're going to teach you how to do that. And then, this is the good one too, win bigger budgets. Now, winning bigger budgets isn't just all about the money and putting money in your pocket, although that's good. It's that bigger budgets enable you to do what? Produce brilliant, creative work. Because that's what you really want, right? You want to produce amazing, beautiful, incredible work. That's what you really want. This is what we're going to show you how to do after you shatter these 4 myths. All right. Quick, before we dive into the 4 myths, a little bit about me, just so you understand who the heck I am and why I am talking to you today. Now, I was the founder of Impossible Pictures. That was a studio and production company and creative agency that I ran for 20 years, based in Denver. So I helmed that studio for 20 years. Now today, I'm a RevThink consultant. So I sold my business so that I could focus on consulting and helping the next generation, that means you, learn how to break through and run a successful business and all that. So what do I do as a consultant? I advise leading studios and agencies and production companies. Now, some of the names that we work with are folks like Alchemy X, Big Star, Cause and Effect, Laundry. We also work with State Design in Los Angeles, Trollback and Company. And also through my Jumpstart Accelerator, I've actually worked with over 100 companies to date from, I think, 20 different countries around the world. So this just means I bring a lot of perspective and a lot of context that I hope you find valuable. Now, also about me, when I ran my company Impossible Pictures, it was a blast. I loved it. I loved it. But not those first 6 or 7 years. I was really frustrated trying to understand how to run my business, do great work, make money, pay the bills, all this kind of stuff. And once I broke through and made those shifts, it was great because I was able to build a strong office. We had a great client base. I had, of course, an amazing team of 25 people plus several hundred freelancers. And we did this from Denver, Colorado. So this wasn't even in one of the major markets in the US. Very proud of what I accomplished. We also did a great variety of work for a lot of really, really cool, great clients. People that I love and still am connected with to this day. And all told, at our peak, we were about 25 employees and we had about revenue of about $5 million US. Okay, now you know who I am. Let's get back to you. And I want to teach you now these 4 myths and walk through them so you can understand what they are. And if you fall prey to them, I want you to see how it's possible to shatter these myths to help you reach the next level. Okay, the 4 myths. Why up-and-coming studios get stuck. Myth number 1, drum roll. Can someone give me a drum roll? All right, here we go. Myth number 1, have you ever heard yourself say something like this? Well, if we just produce great work, everything else will take care of itself. Oh, doesn't that sound so wonderful? But you know what? That is a myth. That is an absolute myth. And here's the lie that you're believing, okay? That producing great work is how a studio becomes great. Now, I wish this was true. So badly I wish this was true, but it's not, it's not, it's not. And I'm out to convince the industry that this myth has to die. What's the truth? Well, if you shatter this myth, the shift I want you to embrace is this, that great work only comes from great clients. Okay, it's not because you're just going to focus on doing great work somehow from mediocre clients with mediocre budgets. Not going to happen. Okay, now that being true, here's the problem, okay, is that if you get this wrong, if you get stuck in this myth and you can't break free of it, here's what will happen. You will put your heads down and push yourselves to produce great work, but never produce truly great work. I know that is harsh. I'm sorry, but I just want to be honest with you, because this philosophy will lead you down a path where you really will never truly produce great work. And because firms get stuck working for mediocre clients with mediocre budgets, okay, that can only result in, you guessed it, mediocre work. Now, here's the good news, is that once you get this right, once you shift and move beyond this myth, you can stop hoping to someday produce great work. Well, how? Well, first of all, I want to say that hope is not a plan. Okay, so stop hoping. Hope is not a plan. Instead, get out there. You can win better clients with bigger budgets that will empower your firm to finally, guess what? Produce truly great work. Now that sounds simple, I know. And here's what you're thinking. Well, let me first tell you a little story about one of my clients, okay? This is Creative Mammals, a motion design studio in Atlanta, Georgia. And look at this beautiful work. When you see studios like this that produce beautiful work like this, you think, wow, they got this great work because they're so talented and brilliant and creative. But it's actually not true. This is the myth. They didn't get this great work because they produce great work. Here's the truth. Masha, who's one of the partners there, said this to me. You know, we used to focus on just creative, also known as do good work and the rest will come. But now we see it is critical to have an action plan and a clear vision of where we want to be as a business. Okay? Notice that, as a business. Where do you want to be as a business? They made this shift and they are breaking through to the next level. And it's really exciting to watch Creative Mammals on this journey. Now I could elaborate, but let's keep going for the sake of time. Here's what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, in the old days, a thriving creative firm was simply produce great work and the rest will take care of itself. And so I would say, great, then how's that working for you? Just go do that great work. Well, as I've explained here, once you shatter that myth, you realize there's something more to it. That in order to produce great work, you have to have a foundation of what? Better clients. So this is my advice, right? Go get better clients. To which you say, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? Okay, we'll get to that next. Because clearly it's not that simple. There's more to it. That leads us to myth number 2. What is myth number 2? Well, this is when you say something like this to yourself. You say, you know, we need someone who has great connections, like a sales rep. We got to get us one of those. And here's the myth. The myth is that sales solves all problems. If we just had a salesperson, they'd go get us those better clients and we'd have those great projects and we'd produce great work. This is an absolute myth. I see this over and over and over again. Now, what's the truth? Well, here's the shift that you need to make. The shift is that your sales problem is actually a marketing problem. And you might be thinking, well, wait, sales, marketing, isn't that the same thing? No, it's not. It's not. Now, let me explain this. First of all, I want to say that if you stay stuck in this myth, okay, if you get this wrong, here's what happens. You will tell yourself lies like, we need a salesperson, or, you know, in sales, it's all who you know, or we just need more sales. But be honest, you're afraid of reaching out and being rejected. That is part of what's really going on here. Okay, and if you get this wrong, because you tried outreach before and failed, You think, well, let's just go hire a salesperson or a rep who promises to get results. And that failed too, right? You've probably tried that in the past. Maybe you haven't tried it yet, but I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, it fails, and it fails bad. Now, here is the good news, because you actually can break through this myth, and once you go through this shift, here's what can happen once you get this right. You can stop making excuses for poor sales. Because you can't delegate that which you don't understand yourself, okay? You can't hire a salesperson if you suck at sales. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. But when you learn the art and the science of great marketing, your firm will master powerful outreach. And what does that do? Help you win better clients with bigger budgets. With bigger budgets. Okay, so I'll show you how this all stacks up, but let me first give you a little simple case study. This is Too Fresh Creative in Los Angeles, another client of mine. And Phil there went through my accelerator and he had this to say. He said, you know, Joel, I now know what kind of outreach to do. Then we did a sales trip and sealed the deal with a huge client. Now, think about this. This was someone who just was focused on doing great work and it's all going to take care of itself. And once he understood what marketing looks like, how outreach works, he started to generate next level results. So let's stack it up. So if I tell you, hey, just produce great work, you would say, well, how do I do that? You got to have better clients. So go get better clients. How do you do that? Well, there's a foundation below better clients called powerful outreach. Powerful outreach is how you go and get better clients. Okay, we're stacking this up as we go. So let me keep moving along here. Let's get to myth number 3. Myth number 3. All right, myth number 3. Have you ever said this to yourself? You know, if clients can see all of our capabilities, they will want to hire us. You know, if they could just see what we're capable of, if they could just see our great work, they will want to hire us. Man, again, I wish this was true. But here's the reality. That clients, sorry, not the reality. This is the myth that you're falling prey to. That clients want what we do. You think clients out there, they want what we do. That's actually a myth. The shift is this, that clients hire expert firms that have clear and narrow positioning. Clients hire expert firms that have clear and narrow positioning. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let me first explain something that I did. Recently, I created this meme. I didn't even really think of it as a meme at the time that I did it, but I ended up calling it a meme for our industry. And it goes something like this. I posted this in some of our Facebook groups and to some of our client channels. And here's how it went. It's rather self-evident what I'm saying. About us. We, it's about us, right? Are a, meaning one of many, creative, since those shops you follow are all so uncreative. Studio, that is passionate. After all, every other shop hates what they do. About producing award-winning, well, no one else wins awards, right? Storytelling, whatever that means. Our unique process, which is actually similar to everyone else's, is design-driven, more like caffeine-driven, and highly collaborative, as opposed to our competitors who despise cooperation. Want to work with us? Who doesn't? Give us a call. We're desperate. Now, this set off a firestorm because a bunch of studio owners and production company owners realized they were guilty of this exact problem. They'd fallen into this myth thinking, well, if we just sound like everybody else seems to be busy and doing great work, so if we just sound like everybody else and look like everybody else, we'll get work. And it doesn't work that way. In fact, here's what a killer top client in the industry, okay, this is Steve at FX Networks. Steve and I are friends, and he commented on my meme, and he said this, you know, Joel, it's really sad how homogenous creative firms have become. These days, every shop is a, quote, design-centric, storytelling, creative, integrated production studio, LOL. This is a buyer. This is a major buyer in the industry. And if he is saying this, think about the implications this has on you and your creative firm. Now, if you get this wrong, I think it's pretty obvious, but let's just spell it out. You will be one of the hundreds of creative firms that present themselves in terms of what they do. And you will never stand out. You will never stand out, regardless of the quality of your work. I know this is brutal. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just going to be honest with you. So you're not going to stand out regardless of the quality of your work. Now, but here's the good news. Once you get this right, what's possible? Well, you can carve out a clear and narrow positioning with what I call the 3 P's of positioning. Those are your purpose, your power, and your personality. Okay, those are the 3 P's. So that your firm can confidently leverage that outreach we talked about earlier to carve out a unique positioning, okay, in the minds of your clients, in the minds of your desired clients, even better. Now here's an example. This is Bunko Studios, also a client of mine, animation company based in New York. And the owner of this studio went through this transition that had to do with how she was positioning herself, not only in her About Us, but also how she was speaking to clients and how she was negotiating and doing outreach. And after I gave her some advice and trained her in some areas, she came back and said this, you know, Joel, this week proves that I've pushed away all the wrong clients to get the one right client. And I wanted to give you credit for that. Now, of course, I didn't take credit for that. I think Nuri did the work. But the idea is that rather than just trying to appeal to everyone, in which case you appeal to no one, there is a way for you to position yourself and your studio to carve out a position in the minds of the clients that you want. Because it's much better to get the one client that you really want than all of the other clients that you don't want, that are just going to be bad clients. So now let's stack it up, because if we want great work, we've got to have better clients. But in order to have better clients, you've got to have powerful outreach. Well, what is it that enables powerful outreach? It's this thing called narrow positioning. Really narrow positioning so that you carve out a very unique position in the minds of your clients. When you do the outreach, you start those relationships with those better clients, and that leads to great work. Okay, we got one more myth to go. So let's do number 4. Myth number 4. Have you ever heard yourself say, I wish I could focus more, but I've got a business to run? Man, this is such an epidemic in our industry, in these smaller and up-and-coming production companies and studios. Here's the myth that I think you're stuck in if you've ever said this to yourself, is that you can do it all on your own. Now, it looks rather ridiculous when you see it in black and white, or blue and white. Okay, you can do it all on your own, but you may be operating this way. And here's the shift that I want to put in front of you to consider, is that the shift is without focus, greatness is impossible. Greatness is actually impossible. That's sobering. Now here's the truth, okay? I know this, that if you get this wrong, what happens? You will be stuck forever wearing multiple hats and never develop your true greatness. And this is a crime, I think. If you don't develop your true greatness, this is not only a loss to you, but a loss to the world. You will also keep searching for the correct foundation on which to build your firm's positioning. And therefore, your studio's positioning will be confusing. Because if you don't know what your genius is, you're not focused on it, you don't know how to position your firm. It leads to all sorts of problems, and it prevents you from escaping that stuck, painful season. Now, the good news, once you get this right, what happens? Well, you can clearly know the source of your creative firm's true greatness, and that is your genius. Your genius. Getting clear about your genius is critical. This will enable you to focus on the things that you love doing the most, while you delegate everything else to your amazing team. This is a real breakthrough when creative entrepreneurs, I work with people all the time, and they look back and they say, you know, Joel, when I went through that program or you taught me that concept of genius, that changed everything. I then became clear about what I should focus on and where my true greatness was the source of my greatness. Now, here's a great example, Leno FX. Now, this company creates animation and content for, these are like templates and animation templates for Final Cut and for After Effects and for Premiere. And Leno went through, worked with me and had this experience where he was trying to do it all. He was wearing all these different hats and he was kind of going crazy and his business was stuck. And then after he got clear about his genius, he had this to say. He said, you know, Joel, thank you for helping me identify what I'm good at and what I have to focus on. Now, this is so simple. It sounds simple, but it's deceptively simple because most creative entrepreneurs don't actually do it. They won't actually get clear about their genius, much less actually focus on it. They keep putting it off. They know they need to do it. They know they need to do it, but they never get around to it. Well, Leno did this, and it definitely pushed his firm to the next level. So let's stack it up. Here it is. If you want to produce great work, you gotta have better clients. Better clients come by way of powerful outreach, and powerful outreach comes by way of narrow positioning. But what is your narrow positioning based on? Well, here's the foundation of it all. It's focusing on your genius. This is how it all stacks up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the 4 myths and why up-and-coming creative firms get stuck. It's these 4 myths. I see this over and over and over again. So let's recap them real quick, just so you can walk away from this session and say, okay, that was clear. Shift number 1, great work only comes from great clients. Okay? Shift number 2, your sales problem is actually a marketing problem. Shift number 3, clients hire expert firms that have a clear and narrow positioning. Okay, expert. Shift number 4, that without focus, greatness is impossible. These are the 4 shifts that I want you to shatter, let go of, embrace these because I know it will make a huge difference in your business. Okay, what was my goal at the beginning of this session, where we started? What was I intending to do? Well, remember I said that if you have always sensed that your up-and-coming creative firm is capable of performing at a much higher level, that I wanted to help you see how to reach it. And I think I've done that. If you agree with me, give me a high five or a shout out. Now, let's just say this. Before we end, I want you to understand that now you have a choice, okay? Because I've shared these 4 myths with you, and you can continue to stay with these myths, continue to believe them, accept them as if they're true. Of course, that's like the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Or you can take the little red pill and you can shatter these myths, make the shifts, and reach for that next level. I hope I've encouraged you, obviously, to take the red pill. Now, if you want help, I just want to give you an offer because I'm not just here to deliver this content and say, good luck. We're all counting on you. It's going to be awesome. Okay, because if you want help, I have actually allocated some time this month to speak with hungry owners that are ready to reach the next level. So if that describes you, let's see if you're ready. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, because I know this, whatever your biggest challenges are, that we've seen it before and we know how to deal with it, okay, me and my team. So we're happy to help. We're We're happy to help. We're going to carve out a little time to help some of you that just need specific help applying these concepts to your business. If you're interested, I recommend that you schedule a strategy session with me. Okay, in a strategy session, this is where we'll identify obstacles, uncover opportunities, and implement strategies that are going to move you forward. And the cost is free. Yes, it's free. Now you're probably saying, wait a minute, why in the heck would this be free? Nobody does anything for free. Well, this is the thing. RevThink does these strategy sessions for free because we've spent our careers in this industry. I mean, you heard my story. I ran a company for 20 years, okay? We love creative entrepreneurs and love helping them succeed. So this is our gift to the industry, to help the creative entrepreneurs. Of course, we also realize that you may want help transforming your business. So in the strategy session, if that's you, we can certainly discuss solutions and options that might be a fit for you. That's totally fine. Now, if you're not a fit for any of that, that's okay. It's no problem. We're just here. We're happy to help. Now, how do you qualify? If you want to do a strategy session with me, how do you qualify? Well, to qualify for a strategy session, you have to be an owner, operator of an established creative firm. I talked about that earlier. Your team size has to be at least 2 people, maybe as much as 10 people on your permanent team size. And you should be generating an annual revenue between probably 300,000 US and 2 million per year. You also should be ready to take action. Okay, I spend this time doing strategy sessions to really help people that are ready to take action and make changes. So I just ask that you respect that. So if this describes you, then let's get you moving forward. Let's do a strategy session call and see if I can help you. Now, quick tip, if you're not qualified, please don't apply, because when you go through this application process, if you don't fit the qualification standards, we're just going to say, sorry, Joel can't do a call with you. So just please respect those ground rules. I would appreciate it. So go to revthink.com/apply and you can schedule that strategy session call with me. It's really easy. You'll just pick a time slot based on my availability, and then you have to fill out a quick form about your business where you just tell me some of the basics about your business, and then we'll do a strategy session call. I thought it would be fun to share a few bits of feedback from some of my clients and other people in the industry that I've worked with, just to let you know that if you do want to do this call with me, that it will be worth your time. Also, I will share this free white paper with you. So if you schedule this call, you go through the process, I'll be sure to share this Everyone Has a Sales Problem white paper with you, which really takes this whole webinar and puts it into a structured written format that you might find really valuable. All right, here's some of that feedback. Here's what Brent had to say. Thank you. You have played a significant role in my professional development, helping me claw my way out of the painful season. PJ at Laundry had this to say, guys and gals, listen to Joel Pilger. I know, he actually called me by name. We repositioned under his guidance and it changed our success rate dramatically for the better. That's very nice of PJ to say. Okay, yeah, we're almost done. I wanted to share our gratitude for transforming how we deal with clients, how we view our roles in business, and our approach to getting future clients. That was Robert at Creative Mammals. Thank you, Robert. Eric in Sweden, he said, I really want to thank Joel and the rest of the team for sharing all the valuable insights, experiences, and actionable advice. I love that word, actionable. Chris at First and Main Films, I love this. He said, not only are we clear now about our dreams, we're going to go get them. That's a lot. That's just awesome. I love hearing that. Ricard, also from Sweden, thank you for this fantastic help we've gotten from you. We received tons of tools and ideas to get our firm to the next level. Awesome. Okay, that wraps us up, folks. Go to revthink.com/apply. If you're qualified, if you're ready to take action, and you want to do a strategy session call with me, I look forward to hopping on the phone with you, probably for 30 minutes, maybe a little more, depending on my availability. And we'll see if we can help you move forward and put some of these concepts into practice to help you escape that painful season and start breaking through to that push season and beyond. Thanks for watching this webinar. I hope you found it helpful, valuable, insightful. I welcome your feedback. I definitely appreciate constructive criticism of any type from anyone. So I will say sayonara, au revoir, goodbye, and thanks again from Joel and everyone here at the team at RevThink.